Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to fix a common problem on the Ford Mustang's S197 body trim. It's a common problem with the door panels. They use some interesting material that doesn't work too well in hot states or hot climates where there's a high fluctuation in weather. They tend to come off. Let me show you what the problem is and how to fix it. I've seen a couple of videos on YouTube that fully didn't address the issue, and I want to show you a permanent solution that actually worked for me. So the problem is the door panel here. This material tends to bulge up and come off. As you can see, this side is coming off. This happened on the driver's side. I'm on the passenger side and I actually was able to fix it permanently. What you need to do first is use painter's tape to tape all around it where you're going to be spraying some of the glue that I'm going to show you. And then the rest, just cover it with some plastic material or newspaper or any other kind of paper that can protect your panel. We're actually going to move this back, clean some of the area here, and then spray some glue. I'll show you the products that you're going to be needing. Let me finish taping this up and then show you what it looks like before we attempt to fix it. So this is what the door panel looks like after I taped it. As you can see, I put tape all around it and secured it with some plastic wrap. Make sure you are doing this project in a non-windy area. I recommend a garage or a secluded area where wind is not going to get in your way. Also, make sure you do tape this plastic or paper on the actual door as well, so this flap doesn't come over to the other side and mess up your project. And make sure you are using painter's tape. That won't damage your paint at all. It'll come right off. To complete this project, you're going to be needing these 5 essential tools. You're going to need a pair of disposable gloves you're going to be using at the beginning. Goo Gone spray. This is really good to take glue residue off any surface. You're going to be needing painter's tape and some sort of device, whether it's a credit card, an old ID, or a driver's license, to push the vinyl into the groove of the door panel. And you're going to be using this this glue here. It's 3M is the brand. It's a headliner for fabric and adhesive. This is great for any kind of climate, especially in high humidity places like Houston, Texas, where I'm at. So I'll link all these products in the description so you don't miss them. And make sure this is the actual glue that you're using. I've tried others and they don't work as well. All right, so before you start, you want to inspect the back here. Since my sponge is intact here, I'm not gonna scrape it off. I've never put glue in here. This will be the first time. This back surface here is also pretty intact. So I'm just gonna go ahead and spray the glue on it. I'm not actually gonna scrub this. Some people recommend scrubbing it just for the sake of being able to create a rougher surface that would adhere. In my experience on the driver's side, I didn't have to do that. It was the first time I added this glue and it worked. If you've added glue before, you may need to scrub it off with a very light grit sandpaper just to make sure you clean off all that glue and be able to re-adhere. All right, so you want to make sure that you shake your 3M glue really well. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna spray this on both surfaces. We're gonna spray it on the door panel surface and on the actual vinyl. We're gonna create almost like a sticker-like type of adhesive where you'll spray one side and then the other. Make sure it's very even out so you don't create lumps that will be visible on the vinyl when you put it together. And that would actually create 2 very sticky surfaces. Once they dry, you can kind of put them together and it'll adhere very strongly. Almost like rubber cement if you've ever used that. So go ahead and peel this down as far as you want to glue or where it's soft. For me, it's almost like the entire front area. And I'm sorry about the noise in the background. My neighbor is cutting the yard. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do, now that I've peeled this off, I'm gonna start spraying this back panel first. So make sure you do a test spray outside first and then start spraying very evenly. And you will clearly see what I mean in a minute. Make sure you get every single corner. When you do the first layer, we're gonna do multiple layers. Make sure you don't breathe this stuff also. Now that I've sprayed all of this material, as you can see, it's pretty evenly. I am missing some here in the center, which I'm going to spray. And as you can see, this is creating some sort of web material. And I'm missing a little bit here. As you can see, it's creating some sort of stringy material. And you want to make sure you get everything, even down here in this corners. So now that we've sprayed this in one direction, after it dries for 5 minutes, you want to spray in the opposite direction because you want to create a web pattern of the glue string. So after 5 minutes of the first coat, your second coat is going to be in the opposite direction. We'll wait another 5 minutes and then we'll do a third coat. The third coat is very light and it will be in the first orientation that you started with. So that'll create a mesh pattern between the glue lines and it will bond really well. So for this second layer, I have to do it vertically. And I just do it very soft because I don't want to create a lot of bumpy areas. You let that dry for 5 minutes and you'll do it 1/3 time and that's it. So I've let this dry enough and I want to show you how this product works. So once you bring both surfaces together, it creates this here. So as you can see, I'm pulling it, it bonds very well. So now I'm gonna put it back together and clean it up. Again, you wanna put it back together after you've done 3 coats in opposite directions. And you let it dry 5 minutes in between each coat. So I'm gonna take both gloves off, I already have one off, and I am going to put it back together. So you wanna be very careful here. You wanna make sure you start at the very bottom and you press the bottom accordingly because you don't want to end up with any bubbles of this. And this is where your card comes in handy because you will use that to press the material very evenly and make sure you don't have any bubbles. So you press it as so. And it should start creating a very nice bond between the materials here. At this point, you want to get this inside. So the entire trim around it, you want to push it in with your card or whatever you have available into the trim so you can start pushing some of the other material out. You simply push this by pressing in. And then don't worry about the area, you'll clean it up afterwards. So for these top areas, you want to make sure that you're pressing this in and you're cutting the glue, the excess glue off the tape, so once you take it off, it'll be easier to clean it. As you can see, I have some residue here. We'll be able to take this off, but for the most part, this looks very well. Let me take all this tape and material off, we'll clean it up and show what the end product looks like. I've taken the majority of the tape off. I'll just take the remaining here. As you can see, there's residue here. I'm gonna clean that up. So at this point, you wanna clean all this stuff off, and I recommend you spray the Goo Gone material on the surface or even on the rag and rub it in, and you should be able to pull that off very easily away from the material here, the vinyl material. You don't need a lot of this product. Just spray a little bit in one area and then you can just rub it on the actual glue. I'll show you here. So I have some of this material here on this piece here, and you just use another part of the rag that does not have that material and you clean it off. Now that will make your surface a little oily, but you can clean it afterwards and then spray some detailer and get that oil off. As you can see, that came off right away. I just have to do this portion here. So this is what the end product looks like. It's very well put together, very crisp. Make sure once you are done wiping all the residue of the glue, you do press this firmly onto the surface just to make sure that it has bonded well. It is recommended that you press this continuously for about 5 minutes or so, just to make sure that all the areas are bonding correctly. And that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed my fix here. Another thing I forgot to mention is make sure you do use a mask when you spray the glue. Another tip, I know you probably did not use the entire glue here and you want to save it for future uses if needed or for other projects. You want to shake this really well, and to clear the nozzle here, you want to flip this upside down and you want to do 3 sprays just to clean up that area. So I'll show you here in this area here until nothing comes out. It's just air. So I've actually cleaned this area. Now you can use it in the future. You can store it and it'll be perfect for next time.